Witchers, thank you for joining us. I'm Joy.
And I'm Laura.
And this is The Witches of Letters, a supernatural rewatch podcast.
Buckle up as we dive into Season 4, Episode 6, Yellow Fever.
Woo!
But before we start, we just need to tell you that next week we won't be releasing an episode just because we've got stuff going on and like holidays and things. So we're going to have a week off, but we will...
Well deserved, I think.
Yeah. But we will be back the week after that. And some of you might like having a week without, so you can get caught up. So, you know, might be.
Yeah, I've been having a couple of conversations with a few listeners on Instagram saying that they're like basically a week behind and they're trying really hard to catch up. And it's like, firstly, I love you guys. You're so pure-hearted. We don't
Yeah,
mind. We love when you listen to us weekly because that's obviously really helpful. However, we're never going to be mad at you for being busy and not being able to listen. Like, that's never going to happen. We just really appreciate that you're listening at all.
Yeah, we appreciate whenever you listen.
Yeah. So, like, I love you all. Thank you for caring so much. But yeah, it'll be nice because it'll give us a chance to catch our breath a little bit and have some holidays. And it'll be good for people who are like just that one behind because it'll give them the perfect opportunity to be exactly where they want to be if they want to be listening to us in real time. I know there's some people who really enjoy that. Like, they love being at the drop. As soon as that episode comes out, they really enjoy streaming it, which I take personally as like the best compliment. Thank you so much. We really, really appreciate you guys.
Definitely.
I want to say that I would like a cookie. I want a cookie or gold star because I'm pretty sure I've subleft my back again. And my pot syndrome has been really bad, really bad last week. I'm going to the doctors. I'm probably going to get some referrals to some specialists again.
Yeah.
But I keep turning up and I keep podcasting because I love Laura, A. I love Supernatural, B. And I really like you guys and all the conversations that we have. But I want sympathy. I want sympathy because I'm so broken. But also I have a new microphone. So if I suddenly sound really cool, it's because I have a brand new microphone because my old microphone was not as good as Laura's. Now we have the same setup, and that's very exciting.
Yay. Yeah, so Joy wants sympathy. So give her what emoji do you want in the comments?
I want a cookie.
A cookie. Give Joy a cookie in the comments.
Yes, please.
And also, that's another reason why we need a week off because Joy's not very well.
I'm so broken. Like, Ehlers-Danlos and POTS is just doing too much. It's like my body does not know how to regulate my heartbeat or any of my other bodily functions. Like, my nervous system is just, it doesn't know what it's doing. Thank God I'm still breathing, honestly. And I'm a very brave little soldier. But I feel like I need Sam from that one episode where he's like,
Tall tales.
Yeah, it's Tall Tales. You're too precious for this world. I see you, brave little soldier.
He'd give you a cookie.
He would give me a cookie, and that would be so nice. And I bet Sam hugs are amazing because he's a large, tall man. And in my experience, that's the kind of hug I like. I like to be engulfed.
Yeah, same. So Yellow Fever, I feel like this episode when I was watching it, it was kind of like the opposite of Bad Day at Black Rock, because in that Sam was being like really vulnerable and adorable and almost dying, and Dean was protecting him, but then kind of also getting annoyed with him. And they've just swapped today in this episode.
Okay, I feel like we get to see Dean's inner child for this whole episode, and it's the most adorable thing. Like, I have a little bit more of a speech about it later. But like, he's so cute. He's just so cute. Honestly, like, you just want to protect him all episode. He's freaking adorable. He makes his eyes go so big and childlike.
Yeah.
Like, his performance is 10 out of 10 gold stars everywhere. I love this episode.
Same. I think my cutest moment with him was the bit where Sam asks him, he's like, "Are you okay now?" And he just shakes his head.
He's like, "No." Like no, a little boy. So adorable. Yeah, honestly, I watched this episode a lot. This is definitely a comfort episode, especially when he's screaming at the cat.
Yeah.
So good. I love it. So, I learned that Jeffrey Dean Morgan Jared Padalecki and Jensen all got crown tattoos on their wrists.
Aw.
I'm pretty sure it's all on their wrists. That's definitely where Jensen's is. And Ackles says that they now call themselves the Three Kings, but the crown also has another meaning. He says it's actually a W for Winchester.
Ah, nice.
And then Jared added, there are a lot of different cool meanings that it just made sense. It was time. And so basically what had happened was Jeffrey Dean Morgan got married to Hillary Burton. And at the wedding, he had a tattoo artist there with like a
Oh, that is
menu
cool.
of some simple, easy, quick tattoos to do. And I think basically Jensen was over there and Jeffrey Dean Morgan was over there at around the same time, and I think they could tell that they were like thinking about getting one.
Yeah.
So Jensen said that Jeffrey was like, "Are you gonna get one?" And he said, "I was like, I don't know, maybe." And then he said, "I was like, the crown's kind of cool." And he didn't know that it was a Basquiat crown. And he was thinking of, "Oh, I was king of Mardi Gras this year. Maybe I'll get the crown." And
Ah.
Ackles says, and he was laughing, and he says, "Jeff's like, I'm gonna get the crown." And I was like, "Oh, no way. That was actually the one that I was looking at." And then it turned out that that was the only item on the tattoo menu that Morgan had specifically been like, "I want this on there."
Ah.
So he's like, "Dude, just get it. We'll get it as well." And then Jared walks up and he's like, "Hey, are you guys getting one?" And they were like, "Yeah, we might get the crown." And he was like, "Yeah, me too. I'm in." So they all have it. And I have a photo in my show notes of Jared and Jensen showing off their crowns, which is really, really cute.
Oh,
Um,
wait. Can't see it. Have you put the show notes on the thing yet?
no, but I could send it to you real quick. Hang on.
Okay. Their faces as well.
They're so excited.
Oh, that's cute. See,
Yeah.
you were saying the other episode about matching tattoos,
Mm-hmm.
and we were saying we should get a matching tattoo, and then you were like, no, the tattoo curse.
Yeah. I'm genuinely scared of the tattoo curse. Like,
Nothing bad's happened to them.
yet. Yet.
Oh, dear.
I mean, I'm not want to say that in like a predictive way, but I'm also pretty sure that Jensen's changed his. Because, well, you can see in some of his new work that there have been lines added to it. And I don't know if the other guys have added those lines as well. So I don't know if he's done it to avoid the tattoo curse. I don't know. But I think either way, it's really cool that they all have a matching tattoo.
Yeah.
And I love that they were like, yeah, it's also a W. It's Winchester's.
Aw.
Because it is a really simple design. It's like a really, really simple outline. And if you looked at that, you could be like, yeah, that's a W. So I feel
Yeah.
like it's just adorable and really, really sweet. Do you want to do the synopsis?
Yeah. So this is season 4, episode 6, Yellow Fever. The original air date for this episode was October 23rd, 2008. Dean is infected with a mysterious illness that causes extreme fear and paranoia. As the condition worsens, he begins to hallucinate and becomes terrified of things that wouldn't normally faze him. They investigate the source of the sickness and discover it has been caused by a spirit targeting people who bully or abuse others, and started with the spirit of a man called Luther, who was road-hauled to death by another man who thought Luther had killed his wife. When Dean's illness gets so bad he can't investigate, Sam calls Bobby to help, who has found out the spirit can be scared to death. So they come up with a plan to do this before the illness kills Dean.
Yeah.
And then this opening scene is really funny.
It is my
so short.
favorite opening scene ever.
It's my favorite so far as well now.
Yeah.
It's so cute and funny. So we open to Dean running as fast as he can away from something. And we hear growls, and he looks back and picks up even more speed. He's running flat out away from whatever monster this is. He then turns a corner round a dumpster and runs into a shopping cart of a man who's going through the dumpster. And Dean warns the man, run, it'll kill you. And then we see what's been chasing Dean is a tiny Yorkshire Terrier with a little pink bow on its head. And then he stares at the dog, he stares back, and then he runs away screaming and the dog follows. It's so cute.
It is adorable. I love it. It is hilarious. His eyes are so huge too. And we're really primed as an audience to think that it's a hellhound.
Yeah, well, there is the like roars and growls were definitely not from that dog.
Yeah, that dog was not making those sounds.
No. And yeah, this scene is like in the middle of the episode, really, isn't it? When we actually see when it happened in real time, because it then goes back in time a little bit, like a couple of days.
Yeah, so we get a little, timer thing on the screen that says 43 hours earlier,
Yeah,
and then we cut and we're inside a morgue.
yeah. Oh, and their pseudonyms today are Aerosmith ones
They
because
are
they're
indeed,
Agent Tyler and Agent Perry.
which is very appropriate after all of our Steven Tyler jokes.
Yeah, when you think you look like Steven Tyler,
Yeah.
and so I call you Steven now.
Yeah, it's my new name.
I can call you Agent Tyler instead if you want.
Either is fine for me, honestly.
All right, Steven. um, so yeah, they're still pretending to be FBI. They've gone to see a victim who has seemingly died of a heart attack 3 days ago. And Sam says, but he was 44 years old and a marathon runner. And the coroner says, everybody drops dead sooner or later. And Dean says that another two perfectly healthy men died of heart attacks yesterday. And the coroner asks why the FBI cares anyway. Dean tells him they just want to see the autopsy results. And the coroner's like, what autopsy? And Dean says, the one you're going to do. And then we cut to the autopsy.
The autopsy is so funny. So, like, firstly, when I wrote this down, I was like, "See, this shit is the shit that scares me, where it's like random heart attacks have
Yeah.
always they like I don't know if they did this in schools in the UK, but in schools in the US, they were like, "Did you know that you could just drop dead of a heart attack at any time, children?"
Oh,
No, literally no wonder my entire generation has so much anxiety.
yeah.
Because we had the threat of nuclear winter and the end and slash drag over of the Cold War. And then our physical education stuff was like, you could be dead. Children die too of random heart attacks. It's like, seriously,
Mm.
like, why are you like this, people? And then we had, because it was the year of dare, they were also telling us that if we ever did drugs, we would die and our eyes would explode or some shit. And then they were also trying to recruit kids to be undercover. Oh my god, dude, the era was wild. So anyway, that's my background story of like why I don't like scenes like this.
Hmm.
Cause no, thank you. Um, the morgue guy is thrilled to death that these people are dropping dead. He's like, I have job security. I'm fine.
Yeah.
It's a very boomer attitude, can I just say? And then I was like, oh no, the realistic autopsy, because the autopsy that he does is so realistic. They have
Yeah.
the sounds of the bones crunching.
Ew.
He's physically pulling things apart. Like the organs look really, really real. It's just, mm-mm. It was no bueno for me.
No.
Um,
Although the only thing that wasn't very realistic, which was a flag, was he says, "Oh, I can't find any blockages of the major arteries," and he's literally been doing it for about 15 seconds.
yeah,
He's
that
done
was
a
a bit
15-second autopsy.
That was a bit like, but I don't know anything about anything, so I was like, maybe he can see it all. I don't know. And I was also a little bit traumatized by the extreme realism of the sounds and the gore and everything.
Yeah,
Because
that
you
was
know me,
disgusting.
usually I'm like, good gore, good gore. This one I was like, no, this is a bridge too far for me. I'm gonna throw up.
It was like
Um,
the slicing of the skin as well at the beginning.
yeah, this is my version of the eyeballs. Do not care for it. So the coroner turns to Dean because Dean is looking like a little green. And he says, first dead body. And Dean's like, far from it. And the coroner's like, oh, good, because these suckers can get pretty ripe. Hey, hand me those rib cutters, would you? Sam takes a fortifying breath while Dean picks up the cutters and hands it to the coroner. The coroner cuts the ribs open while Sam keeps himself from squirming as best as he can, basically. And then Dean notices the mark on the corpse's hand and says, is that a wedding ring mark? I didn't think that Frank was married. And the coroner says, that ain't my department. This man gives a fuck about nothing. He's happy people are dying. That's it. Sam says, any idea how he got these? And he picks up Frank's arm, which has all these scratches on it. And the coroner says, you know what? When you drop dead, you actually tend to drop. The body probably got scraped up when it hit the ground. And then he
In
goes,
like that one specific place, though.
yeah. He went, huh. And Sam says, what? And he says, I can't find any blockages of any, which is what Laura was saying. and the coroner snaps the heart out of the body
Ew.
while Dean tries not to throw up. Like, you can see him kind of, like, regurgitate into his mouth in the background a little bit, which who can blame him, honestly? This is disgusting. And he says, "The heart looks pretty damn healthy," which he then hands to Dean, and Dean is like, "Oh my god." Like, Dean's not loving life. Hold on a second, would you? And Sam is laughing at Dean off to one side. And then immediately afterwards, the coroner's doing something else, and Sam gets sprayed in the face with what looks like blood. And
Ew.
he says, "Oh, sorry, spleen juice." And then Dean smirks. So it's like a combination between terrifying, disgusting gore, and then you're laughing. So it is like real horror comedy.
Yeah. And then we got to Sam and Dean in the sheriff's office waiting to be seen. The sheriff comes out and asks the deputy, Linus, who they are, and then he invites them into his office, but he tells them to take their shoes off first. So he then goes, they all go in the office and he shakes their hands, and then he uses so much hand sanitizer afterwards, it's like he was preparing for COVID-19.
It is very COVID-esque. I was actually watching this whole scene thinking, he's prepared. He will survive COVID.
Well, he didn't survive this episode.
The shoes come off, the hand sanitizer goes on, and he's good to go.
Yeah. Sam tells him they're looking into the death of Frank O'Brien and they understand some of his men found the body. The sheriff confirms and says that him and Frank were friends and gamecocks, and Dean laughs.
Exactly like I just did.
Yeah, I did as well, because I'm like 3. The sheriff explains that that's their softball team's name and says that they're majestic animals, as Dean tries to keep a straight face because he's like staring at Dean.
Majestic animals.
And then he says that Frank was a good man.
And Dean says, "Yeah, big heart." Well, and then he looks immediately disturbed. Like he was trying to say something nice, but also make a joke, but then he traumatizes himself, and you could see it all happening in real time on his face, and I have never laughed so hard at Dean.
Sam asks if Frank was acting strange before he died, like he was scared of or something, and the sheriff says that, yeah, he was real jumpy, but he doesn't know what scared him. And then he starts having a coughing fit, and then there's more hand sanitizer, and Dean looks disgusted. And he asks why the feds are interested, and they say it's probably nothing. And Dean says it's just a heart attack. And then later outside, Dean's like, "No, wait, that was a heart attack."
Yeah, immediately afterwards.
Start walking away. And yeah, he explains there's 3 victims with the same scratches and went from jittery to terrified to dead within 48 hours. That was Sam that was saying that.
Mm-hmm.
And they decide that something must have scared them to death and run through some possibilities. Dean says it could be ghosts, vampires, chupacabra. It could be 100 things. I love that bit.
Me too.
He asks who was the last person to see Frank alive. Sam says his neighbour, Mark Hutchins. Dean stops Sam and says he doesn't like the look of some teenagers. And then let's walk this way, going a different direction. And that was, I don't know if that was an intentional Aerosmith reference because they used Aerosmith.
Walk this way.
Yeah. And Sam's just like left standing there like, what the hell? Because he's obviously getting scared.
So what was really, really, really funny about this is he's looking at them because he thinks they're going to do bad things to the Impala. That's the fear. So he crosses the street to go like by them to scare them off from the Impala. So it's like a very like slow burn to his anxiety, but he's definitely anxious about it. And Sam gives him a look.
Yeah.
That's like, are you okay? This is very weird of you.
Yeah. Like not normally scared of children.
Yeah. So they then go to Mark Hutchins' house because he's their next lead. And Hutchins says, "Tyler and Perry, just like Aerosmith."
Is this the first time anyone's ever called them out on their pseudonyms?
It's not the first time, but I think it's like only the second or third time. So very occasionally someone, because I feel like if no one noticed, it would feel unrealistic.
Yeah.
So I personally really enjoy it when somene's like, oh, like
wasn't there? There was a man who was like, I can't remember what episode it was. Was it Scarecrow or Croatoan? It was like in a little town, and he was sat outside a building, and he said something about one of their pseudonyms, I think.
Yeah, I can remember this scene, but I can't remember.
Yeah,
the exact
episode.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Dean's looking around the room, looking kind of uncomfortable, and we realize that this man collects exotic pets. Okay.
the snakes.
He has snakes, he has lizards, he has everything.
A tarantula.
And tarantula, there's boa constrictors, and there's quite a large, loose boa constrictor in this scene. And Sam just says, yeah, small world, with regards to the Aerosmith comment. And he says, so the last time you saw Frank O'Brien? And Dean sees this large lizard and is like, ugh. And we can tell that he's getting gradually more and more nervous. So Hutchins says that on Monday he was watching him from his window and he waved at his friend, but his friend just closed the curtains on him. And Sam asked
Rude.
if he seemed different other than that, basically, like if he seemed scared. And Hutchins says that he was freaking out. And Sam looks at Dean, and Dean is starting to look kind of freaked out too, because he's noticing all the creepy crawlies.
Well, yeah, and this guy's got like a snake wrapped around his neck the whole time, like a scarf.
She's his baby. So Dean says, "Do you know what scared him?" And Hutchins is like, "Well, yeah, witches." And Sam says, "Witches?" And Hutchins says, "Well, Wizard of Oz was on the TV the other night, right?" And he said that green bitch was totally out to get him. And Sam said, "Does anything else scare him?" And Hutchins says everything scared him. Al-Qaeda, ferrets, artificial sweetener, those Pez dispensers with their dead little eyes. All I could think of was Jaws. Shark's eyes, like doll's eyes, dead. You know? What does he say? Black, dead. Something like that. I don't know. It was a weird line from Quentin, and I love it. It makes me laugh. So
I liked the random list of things he's scared of.
Yeah. So Dean's looking around and just like squirming, and Sam's trying to stay on task. And Sam's like, "So tell me, what was Frank like?" And Hutchins like, "I mean, he's dead, you know. I don't want to hammer into him, but he got better." And Sam's like, "He got better?" And Hutchins is like, "Well, in high school he was a dick." And Sam's like, "A dick?" And Hutchins says, like a bully. I mean, he probably taped half the town's butt cheeks together. And Dean snickers. And Hutchins looks at him like, "Bitch." And he says, "Mine included." And Dean says, "So he pissed a lot of people off. You think anyone would have wanted to get revenge?" And Mark says, "Well, Frank had a heart attack, right?" And Sam says, "Just answer the question, sir. I'll FBI and whatnot." And Hutchins says, "No, I don't think so. Like I said, he got better. And after what happened to his wife," Dean says, "His wife. So he was married." And Hutchins says, "She died about 20 years ago. Frank was really broken up about it." Dean starts staring at the snake around Mark's neck, and Mark notices. Yeah. And he says, "Don't be scared of Donnie. He's a sweetheart. It's Marie you got to look out for." And then he kind of nods because there's a large boa constrictor, I believe, behind them or a python behind the sofa. And he says, "She smells fear."
Yeah. And that snake is huge.
Dean literally gasps. Well, see, the thing is, like, I'm from Florida, so none of this is.
No,
it means nothing to me. Like, I've had pet snakes. I've caught snakes in the wild. Like, it gives me nothing. We had this same day, this same dude came to my school. Obviously, not literally, but a guy like him came to our schools when we were little and had us hold onto or try to hold parts of the python because it's so big. And he was like, "You know, if this snake was left alone in a room with children your size, it would just eat you up." And we're like, "Gee, thanks, man."
Yeah.
Florida. What are you gonna do? So, yeah, I'm very, very immune. But Dean is freaking the fuck out. Dean is not okay. Dean. He's like frozen, trying to breathe through his nose instead of his mouth and not show how terrified he is, which is so fucking funny. Like when you're watching, he's just like, he's not okay.
No.
And normally I would sympathize and be like, "My poor sweet baby," but honestly, this scene is just funny.
I was sweating. I was like, no, because it makes me feel claustrophobic. Like, I think snakes are kind of cool, but I would not want to touch one or have one over me. Like, and when it goes over like his shoulder and his leg, that must feel so weird. Like, I can imagine how they must feel. It's like a muscle. And I'd be like, no, don't like it. And I definitely wouldn't be able to have one around my neck. No snakes, no.
Okay, that's adorable.
Also, it was funny that he called them Donnie and Marie, which I'm
Oh
assuming is the
yeah, the
Osmonds
Osmonds.
reference. I did have a fun fact about the snakes. Someone
Yeah.
on IMDb has said what they think their snakes were. So Donnie is probably a granite jaguar carpet python,
Mm-hmm.
and Marie is an albino reticulated python.
Yeah.
Both are constrictors, and Marie is easily large enough to wrap around your neck and kill you. Nice.
Mm-hmm.
And
Sure.
in the wild, that kind of python can grow to over 20 feet long and then can swallow an adult human. Maybe this is
I
that guy
mean,
that went to your school that wrote this.
I feel like an anaconda can swallow. But the thing is like you'd have to be pretty unlucky because if you're a grown adult and you're somewhat healthy, you'd notice a constrictor trying to creep up on you.
Yeah, it's they do it when you're asleep though. If you were
Yeah.
asleep and you didn't know you were slowly being eaten.
Yeah, but I also feel like you would wake up. Like I think here's the thing. I feel about pythons the way that I feel about sharks, which is that they definitely can be dangerous, but they're not out to get people. They're just animals in nature trying to live their lives. And in my experience, pythons are not wildly aggressive snakes. I'm not saying they wouldn't sometimes
Maybe
try to
it's
give you a good
hungry.
squeeze. I don't think that it's a great idea if you have a python to purposefully drape it around your neck unless you really know that snake very well. And I think at a certain poundage, you probably still shouldn't do that just because of the risks. But pythons are in my limited experience with pythons, they're not these super fast moving snakes most of the time.
Mm-mm.
They're pretty chill. So yeah, I don't know. Most snakes are a lot less aggressive than people think that they are.
Well, I agree with the first bit you said about how you think the same way about snakes as you do about sharks, because I also think that way, and I wouldn't go near either of them.
I've petted sharks.
Oh,
Sharks are like the puppies of this. No, okay. For legal purposes, you shouldn't do what I did.
don't pet
But
sharks.
when I was younger, like a teenager, I was in Florida and I was out in a storm in the water and there were these really adorable, I think they were baby lemon sharks, and they were just like little puppies. They were
No
no
joy.
they were no threat to us whatsoever. They were very sweet. They really enjoyed being petted. I had
Where
the
was
time
their
of my
mother?
life.
She would not have been happy that you were touching them, and then
Mama
might have eaten
sharks
you.
do not survey their children. Like they like give birth and then the babies do their own
Right,
thing.
you fended for yourself now.
It's not like
I've done my bit.
alligators. If you see a baby alligator, you should be very aware because mother alligators
Mm.
do care about their offspring. Sharks, it's different.
Mm. I think the only thing I can relate to about that is seals. So where I live, there's lots of seals on the beaches.
Mhm.
We don't have alligators though. But the
Yeah.
same thing, you shouldn't go anywhere near a seal pup.
I mean, just in general in nature, never get between a mother and child because that will get you dead. Like even cows, even like the most domesticated animals ever, just never stand between any mother of any species and their offspring. Just give them a wide berth.
Yeah. I think we should have a nature podcast.
So, to put us back on track, we cut to the Impala at night. Dean's sitting in the car reading while scratching his left arm. Sam opens the passenger door and climbs in, and he says, "Hey, any luck at the county clerk's office?" And Dean says, "I'm not sure I'd call it luck. Frank's wife, Jessie, was a manic depressive. She went off her meds back in '88 and vanished. They found her 2 weeks later, 3 towns over, strung up in her motel room. Suicide."
Hmm.
Sam says, "Any chance Frank helped her along to the other side?" And Dean says, "No, Frank was working the swing shift when she disappeared." I'm not sure if swing shift is supposed to be a terrible pun, but if it is, I disapprove.
Hmm. Yeah, I hadn't
Um,
even noticed that.
yeah. He says airtight alibi, and then he turns the car on. And they're driving in the middle of town. And Dean's saying, "How is Frank's pad?" And Sam says, "Clean. Searched it top to bottom. No EMF, no hex bags, no sulfur." And Dean's like, "So probably no ghosts, no witches, no demons." And Sam's like, "Pfft." Dean says, 3 down and 97 to go. And Sam's like, "Yeah." And he sees that Dean is driving like very low speed for Dean. And he's like, "Dude, you're going 20. And Dean's like, and? Sam says, that's the speed limit. And Dean says, what? Safety's a crime now? He drives to the intersection past their hotel. Sam's like, dude, where are you going? That was our hotel. And Dean says, Sam, I'm not going to make a left-hand turn into oncoming traffic. I am not suicidal. And Sam gives Dean this weird look. And Dean says, did I just say that? That was kind of weird. And then the EMF starts going off. And Sam says, do you hear something? And he takes out the EMF meter. And it goes crazy when it's near Dean. And Dean goes, am I haunted? Am I haunted? He's freaking out. Okay. And I laughed so hard. It's so funny.
It was just how he was doing this kind of angry ramble. And he's like, did I just say that? That was weird.
Yeah.
And then
he realizes as he's saying it that he doesn't even sound like himself. And then he freaks out like a Scooby-Doo character. His eyes are bugging out of his head. Am I haunted? It's the best thing ever.
And the next bit, I got excited because I thought we were getting the Eye of the Tiger bit because you hear the music, but I didn't realize it was just like an outtake at the end of the episode.
Yeah. Because
Jensen, like drumming laying down, but
Jensen just started doing it.
Yeah.
And then they kept rolling so that it becomes the after credits, doesn't it?
Yeah, I'm glad they put it in, the whole thing. That was funny.
Oh, God.
I was under the impression, because obviously I haven't watched it before, and I've seen that bit before, so I thought the whole take was in the episode or something.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, it's the Eye of the Tiger bit. But then I'll just wait. Oh, wait, not yet.
Not yet. It'll be really fun when we get to that scene for you to tell us your reaction as somebody who's never seen it in context.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just have a question about this next scene coming up before we do it. And it's, did Sam buy Dean donuts because he had bad news for him?
I feel like, yeah. Makes sense to me. So Sam's on the phone talking to Bobby. He hears Eye of the Tiger by Survivor coming from the Impala and walks over. And then he sees Dean lying flat on the front seat, air drumming to Eye of the Tiger. So we know from the airplane episode, Phantom Traveler, that when Dean is anxious, he listens to music. And that kind of puts a new layer on his musical collection in Baby, if you ask me. Like, I feel like this is his comfort thing, which is beautiful to me because I do the same thing. My comfort music is the same comfort music as his. If I'm super unhappy, a lot of the time it'll be like Led Zeppelin or AC/DC or just like sometimes Metallica. And so it's just, he's perfect. He's perfect and he should never change. So Sam, seeing Dean air drumming, bangs on the roof of the car and scares Dean.
That's me.
And then Dean's like, dude, look at this. And he shows him where his arm is all scratched up. Sam says he just talked to Bobby. Dean's like, and? So Sam's giving him the box of donuts. Dean smells it and is like, ew, stranger danger, and then throws it away. So he's like, strange people have touched these donuts. I don't know where these donuts have been. What if they're poisoned is what's on his face. And then he throws it away.
Yeah.
Which we all know that if Dean is put off by food, he's not okay. All right.
Yeah.
That's not our sweet baby angel. He's not thriving. He is not live, laugh, loving.
I actually wrote that later because at the end of the scene, he gets back in the car and like picks up the donuts, but then he just puts them down again. And I was like, he's so scared he can't even eat a donut.
Yep. So Sam is very confused, and you could see it on his face. And he says, well, you're not going to like it. And Dean says, what? And Sam says, it's ghost sickness. And Dean says, ghost sickness? And Sam says, yeah. And Dean says, God, no. And Sam says, yeah. And Dean says, I don't even know what that is. And Sam says, okay. Some cultures believe that certain spirits can infect the living with a disease, which is why they stopped displaying bodies in houses and started taking them off to funeral homes. And Dean says, okay, get to the good stuff. Like, you're telling me I'm sick. Stop fucking beating around the bush and tell me what's actually wrong with me, because his anxiety is high. And Sam says, symptoms are you get anxious. And Dean goes, yeah. And then Sam says, then scared. Then really scared. Then your heart gives out. Sound familiar? And he says, yeah, but Sam, we haven't seen a ghost in weeks. And Sam says, well, I doubt you caught it from a ghost. Look, once a spirit infects that first person, ghost sickness can spread like any sickness through a cough, a handshake, whatever. It's like the flu. Now, Frank O'Brien was the first to die, which probably means he was the first infected, patient 0. And Dean says, our very own outbreak monkey, which is a funny movie reference.
Yeah.
Sam says, right, get this. Frank was in Maumee over the weekend, softball tournament, which is where he must have infected the other two victims. Dean says, we're the Gamecocks. Sam says, corn jerkers. With a straight face.
What are these names? I do actually have some fun facts about the names.
Tell me.
So, because I was going to look this up anyway, but then it was on IMDb, so I didn't need to. So, Gamecocks are roosters that are bred and trained for blood sport fighting, which that one kind of was self-explanatory. It says these cockfights are so inhumanely brutal as to be illegal throughout the USA. And then corn jerking, aka corn shucking or corn husking, is the hand picking and husk removal of sweet corn. Before 1910, all sweet corn was harvested by hand.
And giving us hilarious names.
Yeah. Corn jerkers.
Wow.
What are these softball teams?
Old school, man. Old school. So Dean goes on to say, so ghosts infected Frank. He passed it on to the other guys, and I got it from his corpse. And Sam says, right. And Dean says, so now what? I have 48 hours before I go insane and my heart stops. And Sam's like, we're like 24. And Dean's like, super. And Sam says, yeah. And Dean says, well, why me? Why not you? I mean, you got hit with the spleen juice. And that was so fucking funny, too. And Sam says, yeah, you see, Bobby and I have a theory about that, too. It turns out all three victims shared a certain personality type. Frank was a bully. The other two victims, one was the vice principal, the other was a bouncer. And Dean says, okay. And Sam says, basically, they were all dicks. And Dean says, so you're saying I'm a dick?
Yes, Dean, we are.
And Sam says, no. It's not just that. All three victims used fear as a weapon, and now this disease is just returning the favor. And Dean says, I don't scare people. And Sam says, Dean, all we do is scare people. And Dean says, okay, well, then you're a dick too. And Sam says, apparently I'm not.
He says it so he's so smug as well. It's funny.
He's like, you were judged and you were found wanting.
No, you're a dick and I'm not a dick.
Yeah, literally.
Which, fair.
Yeah. So Dean says, whatever, how do we stop it? And Sam says, we gank the ghost that started all this. We do that, the disease should clear up. Dean says, you thinking Frank's wife? Sam says, who knows why she killed herself, you know? Hey, what are you doing waiting around here anyway? And Dean looks up at the hotel and he says, our room's on the 4th floor. And Sam's like, and Dean says, it's high. And Sam says, I'll see if I can move us down to the 1st.
Aww.
And Dean says, thanks. And I was like, this was the most adorable thing that I've ever seen. Because Dean's vulnerable with Sam and admits that he's scared of heights now. And Sam acts like the big brother and is like, I'll just move our room. It'll be fine. And he's so sweet and reassuring. And Dean's like, thanks. And that thanks is like so genuine and little kid. Yeah, it's just so sweet. And Sam just says, sure. And he doesn't say it sarcastically. Like, he doesn't make fun of him. He's just the best brother in this scene. And I love Sam so much for that. And this is when Dean climbs into the Impala. He looks at the donut box, but then it weirds him out and he refuses to touch it.
Yeah, it's interesting because so you were saying that it's because he thinks that people might have touched them and so he doesn't know where it's been. I was just thinking that he's just so worried he can't even eat. But I think
he could be scared that he's going to choke. So he could be too anxious to eat. His stomach could hurt because he's so anxious.
How much does he remember from Mystery Spot? Does he remember choking on the sausage?
Yeah. Some residual zombie memories of food being death. Triggering his anxiety. I don't know.
Yeah. So then we cut to inside the motel room and Dean is staring at a clock that is ticking really loudly. And then the book that he's reading about ghost sickness starts taunting him, which is really funny. He notices the words horrible death, then looks at the pictures of something bursting out of someone's chest and someone else vomiting blood. Nice. And then a few words in the text appear bold, and they are "you're dying," again, and "loser." And then "you gonna cry," and then also "baby gonna cry." And there is an extended scene in the DVD special features as well, where this bit had a voiceover. So like the words were being read out. But I'm glad they kept the version that they did, because I didn't really like it with the voiceover.
Yeah.
He puts the book down and the clock seems to get louder, and then we hear a glass smashing sound. And then Sam comes back in and we see the clock on the ground smashed up, and he looks around and he's like, what? And asks Dean if everything's all right.
I feel like as somebody who's had anxiety attacks in my life, this is a really, really stellar example of an anxiety attack. And it's really well done, because
Yeah.
I don't know how many people know this, but if your anxiety attack gets bad enough, you can actually hallucinate. And it can seem so real as well. So what is happening to Dean is very realistic, and I hope that that gives people who haven't had anxiety more sympathy for people who are undergoing anxiety, so that they can be better friends.
Yeah. But yeah, so Sam asks Dean if everything's all right, and Dean's like, oh yeah, just peachy. And Dean asks Sam if he's found anything. He says Jesse's body was cremated, so he can't be the ghost. Then tells Dean to stop picking at his arm because he's like scratching it and the wound is getting worse. He's really sarcastic when Sam asks if he's okay, saying it's freaking delightful. Then he starts choking on something and coughs something up. And then in my initial notes, I was just like, what the hell was that? And then apparently it's wood chips.
And then Sam goes full Sherlock again.
Yeah.
Where he does not care about Dean or his feelings. He's just intellectually curious, and he's so excited.
Yeah, and calls him a clue.
Yeah.
He's like, we've been ignoring the biggest clue we have, you. And Dean's like, I don't want to be
I
a
wanna
clue.
be a clue.
I don't want to be a clue. That's so cute.
Yeah. And then Sam's like, the abrasions, the disease, it's trying to tell us something. And Dean says, tell us what? Wood chips? And Sam says, exactly. The way that Sherlock would be like, indubitably, my good Watson. He's so funny. He cracks me up.
Yeah.
And I wrote
worked out where he needs to go.
Yeah, I wrote, Sam just turned back into Sherlock, excited, so happy. Dean is like, fuck you, bro. It's so funny.
Yeah, I just coughed up a weird wood chip.
Yeah. Bleeding internally. Thanks for your concern.
Oh dear. Yeah, so Sam has worked out where they need to go, and then we cut to them driving to a lumber mill. And they get out of the car, and immediately Dean's like, I'm not going in there. And Sam says he needs him to be his backup, so he's going in. And Dean swigs from a bottle of whiskey and is like, let's do this.
But he holds up his hand, brings out the flask, proceeds to drink like a fish, and then is like, let's do this. It's so fucking, like, Jensen's acting, 10 out of 10. Give him an Oscar. I know you don't get Oscars for TV. I don't care. Give him an Oscar. An Emmy is not good enough.
But then they open the trunk for weapons, and as he does, he looks up at the building and says, it's a little spooky, isn't it? So cute.
That part is like my favorite part. It is so adorable. And then I also started questioning like our brave Dean when he's not sick like this. Like, I wonder if sometimes he does get scared and that's why he drinks.
Yeah.
Like, for real. Like, you get to see the vulnerable, gooey center of Dean, and it's the best thing ever. At this point, I was like, I'll marry you, and I'll save you, and I'll protect you. I'll keep you safe.
Aww. And then it still gets funnier because Sam passes Dean a handgun, and he refuses to take it. And Sam looks at him like, what the hell? And Dean says, it could go off, and grabs a flashlight instead. And he's like, I'll man the flashlight.
And Sam just goes, you do that.
He's had enough of him now.
He's still nice about it, though. This is the thing, is Sam is actually really nice to Dean this episode, instead of being like, shitty, I hate you, brother Sam. He's not giving him stick when he could, which is because they like, if it was the other way around, I do think that Dean would take care of Sam, but I'm not sure
that the other way around in Bad Day at Black Rock. He did the same.
Yeah, it's true. He did, actually, and he was really kind. He didn't take the piss out of him much. I think there was like one joke. He was really nice. Yeah, so it's so wholesome. It's so wholesome, you guys. It makes me so happy. Oh, on my first note, when we go inside the lumber mill, is Dean's face with his flashlight is the most adorable thing I've ever seen.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah, it's so amazing. I love it so much.
So they go inside the lumber mill, and the EMF detector goes off. Dean says it's not going to work with him around, is it? And Sam agrees. And Dean's just like being really jumpy, which is funny. And Sam finds a ring on the floor that is inscribed with, "To Frank, love, Jesse." And Dean's like, what the hell was Frank doing here? And they continue into the building and go into a locker room. They hear a noise in one of the lockers, and Sam goes to open it while Dean looks horrified. As Sam opens it, a cat jumps out and Dean screams like a really, really long scream. And then he follows it with, "That was scary." And Sam just walks off. And I had seen this scene before. This is one of those ones that you just can't escape, even though I'm trying
It's
not to get
completely
spoilers.
memified. It's everywhere. Yeah.
So I have seen this before.
Where you're like, yes, it's that one.
Yeah.
You're collecting them like a Girl Scout collects badges.
Yeah, I've seen this one probably as many times as I'd seen I Lost My Shoe.
I lost my shoe. Yeah. So I wrote, here's the thing. Jensen screaming at this cat and saying that was scary is so cute. I love scared Dean. I would protect him, as I said before. I'll say it again.
I think he's cute in this episode as well.
Yeah. And then I wrote, also, as much as this is so funny, I don't think Dean was ever allowed to be scared as a kid because of John. Dean is really childlike all episode, and there's something really sweet about that. Yeah, because John was such a toxic parent. Yeah. And he had them hunting from such a young age. And from such a young age, Dean was told, like, protect Sammy, look after him. He's giving up his food so that Sam can eat. He has a gun under his pillow so that he can protect Sam. Like, this is a cool turnaround to see things flip and to see Sam taking care of Dean. Because, like, Laura raises an excellent point about what happened in Bad Day at Black Rock, but that's kind of also the norm in a way. This is a true reversal of the norm. And I think it's very cool.
Yeah. It makes me mad a bit at the end when Sam and Bobby then kind of make fun of him. I wish they hadn't done that bit and just kind of left it as, you're allowed to be scared.
Yeah.
That kind of ruins it a little bit at the end.
I agree.
So in another room, Sam finds an ID card for Luther Garland, and Dean finds a sketch of Jessie, who's Frank's wife. Then all of the machinery turns on by itself, and Dean sees a spirit over by the controls. Sam then sees him too and calls out to him. And then Sam turns to look at Dean, but he's running away. He's like sprinted out the door.
Dean was like, bye.
That would have been me.
I'm not doing it.
If I'd actually, like, I always say I want to go, like, ghost hunting, but if I actually saw one, I'd run away.
I wrote that Sam's hey to the ghost was a thirst trap. And that Dean ran away like he was on Scooby-Doo for real.
Yeah, he was on Scooby-Doo.
He runs to the Impala, and then he's drowning his fears with this flask with violence. Like, this man is waterboarding those bitches with whiskey.
Yeah, he's drunk nearly the whole bottle now.
I mean, I don't understand how there's anything left in the flask. Honestly. So then he is visibly swaying, and by the time we get to the sheriff's station, he is day drunk.
Yeah.
Day drunk. So here's Deputy Linus, and like, this actor has the most innocent face I've ever seen in my life. Okay. So he's there and he's handing this folder to Sam, and he's saying, this is the Garland file. And then he sees Dean swaying in the background, and he says, is he drunk? And Sam says, no, Deputy. And it just it does his FBI voice. He says, according to this, Luther Garland's cause of death was physical trauma. What does that mean? And Linus says, the guy died 20 years ago before my time. Sorry. Sam says, can we talk to the sheriff? And Linus says, he's out sick today.
Nice.
And Sam says, yeah, he's totally lying. Sam says, well, if you see him, will you have him call us? We're staying at the Bluebird. Dean in the background is staring at his own hand. He's like, looking at it like he's tripping balls. I don't know how many fingers he's seeing. Sam asks if he takes the file away with him, and Linus is like, and Dean says, you know what? You're awesome. And he gives Deputy Linus this blazing smile. And Linus says, thanks. You too, I guess. And then Dean rubs his hand over his trousers like he's looking for the pocket. Like, he thinks he's wearing jeans, but then he's wearing dress trousers and he can't find the pocket because he's so drunk. And then Sam body snatches him away. Yeah. Like, fully just like hook grabs him and yanks him off. And I wrote in my notes, I can see why the bisexual Dean theory really kicked off with this scene. Because Deputy Linus is very handsome and Dean is very like, hey, smiling. And you could read that one of two ways. You could read that like he's drunk and it's adorable, or you could read it like he thinks that Deputy Linus is kind of hot.
And it's coming out when he's drunk.
Yeah, it only comes out when he's drunk. So like
Yeah.
as the resident bisexual, I can look at that scene and be like, I can kind of see it.
Also, I feel like I recognized the deputy, but I forgot to look him up.
Me too. I cannot figure it out. Like every time I see him, I'm like, you look so familiar.
Yeah.
I've never cracked that code though.
Yeah, when they leave, the sheriff comes on the intercom and asks who was there, and the deputy says the FBI guys, and that they were after Luther Garland's file. The sheriff goes silent, and then we see him scrubbing at his arms with a wire scour thing, and his arms are all bleeding, and it's really gross.
Blech.
He loads a gun and hears a voice telling him, they know. And he looks around and catches his own reflection, saying, they know what you did, and now they're going to make you pay.
And then he aims the gun at the trophies. And I was like, what the fuck? But then we see that his own reflection is taunting him. And I was like, Laura, question, is shooting your reflection better or worse than Dean trying to shoot at ghosts?
Probably worse.
Yeah. Less point. There's not a lot of point in shooting at ghosts.
Equal amount of point.
Yeah. Equal amount of pointless, maybe. It was funny to me. I was like, go ahead, my guy. See how far it helps.
So Sam and Dean go to a care home and bump into one of the residents that makes Dean jump.
Oh yeah,
he made her jump as well.
She thinks it's hilarious. I rewound it and I watched it 3 times. 3 times so that I could catch every little micro reaction. So what happens is he goes around the corner. She's not expecting him, but she doesn't exactly jump, because what happens is she's taking in his reaction to her. He acts like he's just seen the fucking Grim Reaper, and she like cackles. She laughs at him, and that is what makes it so amazing. Like he basically also throws himself into the wall to get away from her, and that's when she's like, heh.
Do you think it was the actress like laughing?
I don't know if she broke
character.
I don't know if she broke character, or if like if it was like they have her laughing at him to just drill into us like how ridiculous it's gotten. I have no idea. Either way, I really liked it.
I need to watch it again because I thought she jumped as well, and I just wrote, you can't scare old people like that, Dean.
I rewound it so many times because I was like, wait, because it happens in a split second.
Yeah.
And the camera's really focusing on Dean's reaction and Sam's reaction. So you have to rewind it a few times, I think, to actually see what she does. But yeah, no, it's hilarious. She is thrilled. She is thrilled with life. She's like, yeah, I'm scaring these young, handsome bastards.
Dean's worrying out loud about their fake IDs. And Sam shushes him and tells him to breathe deeply. And then this is the bit where he says, do you feel better now? And he just shakes his head.
No, I love that so much. Again, amazing anxiety stuff, like representation for the anxiety peeps, because Sam's like, Dean, shh, calm down. Deep breath, okay? Dean goes, takes a really deep breath. And Sam says, there, you feel better? And Dean just goes, he shakes his head, no. That did not help me at all. And it's another good callback as well to Phantom Traveler. Because he's like, just try to breathe, man. And he's like, shut up with your yoga crap. I can't remember his exact line in Phantom Traveler, but it's something similar to that. He's like, doesn't help.
Aww.
And then he tells him not to scratch and just come on. And I wrote, Sam is the daddy now.
Yeah. So they go into a room and sit with an old man that they call Mr. Garland, and he turns out to be Luther's brother. They introduce themselves and say they're there to ask him some questions. He asks to see their ID, and Dean's eyes go super wide. He's like, oh no, because that's what he was worrying about before. And they show him the IDs, and Dean's like, those are real. Who would pretend to be an FBI agent, huh? That's just nutty. And Sam kicks him.
Sam stomps on his foot under the table because you can see Dean die trying not to make a face of like absolute excruciating pain. Like I remember my sister stomping on my foot one time, and there's a point in the arch of your foot where you have like a really soft spot and it hurts so bad, and that is 100% what Sam did.
Yeah. Although Sam looked really hot in this scene.
He did, yeah.
Mr. Garland asks what they want to know, and Sam asks how Luther died. Basically, he says that everyone was scared of Luther as he was big and different, but he was the kindest man he ever knew. And as he's talking, we see like a flashback to Luther, and he's picking up a kitten. And I was like, oh, he's a gentle giant.
He is a gentle giant. He says everybody was scared of Luther. They called him a monster, and we see a flashback. He says he was too big, too mean looking, just different. Didn't matter he was the kindest man I ever knew. Didn't matter he never hurt no one. And then he says a lot of people failed Luther. I was one of them. I was a widower to 3 young'uns, and I told myself there was nothing I could do.
See, that's hard as well, though. If his wife had died and he had 3 kids to look after, and
Yeah.
and his brother, sort of thing.
Yeah.
Mm.
And as an autistic person, I have to say Luther gives very strong autistic character vibes to me. I think he's set up to kind of mirror Frankenstein's monster a little bit. He's this big man. He
Yeah, I
gets
thought
scary
that.
to other people, but he's kind-hearted
Mm.
and very sweet. And I've known a lot of guys like this. Like I've known a lot of really big guys who are just absolute teddy bears.
Yeah.
Um, and they get picked on, or people try to start fights with them to prove how big and tough they are. And
Mm.
it's just kind of it's the downside to that existence, you know? And Luther, the actor who plays him with a lot of vulnerability. So this part of the episode, it does what I love about the old monster movies, and it makes us ask ourselves who the monsters are. Is it the villagers with all the pitchforks, or is it the creature? Who's the
Mm.
monster, really? And that's something that this show does all the time, and they do it really beautifully. So Sam then shows the sketch of Jesse and asks if he recognizes. And Mr. Garland identifies it as Jesse O'Brien. And he says Frank, who is her husband, killed Luther. And Sam says, how did you know that? And he says, everybody knows. They just don't talk about it. And then we see a flashback. And she's a really pretty woman. She also seems kind of shy. We can see her being really nice to Luther. And his brother says that Luther had a crush on her. And Frank hated that. And when Jesse went missing, Frank was sure that Luther had done something to her. And then it
Mm.
turned out later that she had killed herself, but Frank didn't know that. And so we see the flashbacks of basically her husband finding Luther with all of these sketches, like walls and
Mm.
walls and walls of sketches of Jesse. And so he makes an assumption that he's like a crazy serial killer type and
Yeah.
attacks him out of this spirit of vengeance for his wife and grief, I guess. He then says that they found Luther with a chain wrapped around his neck. He was dragged up and down a stretch of outside that plant until he was past dead. So
That is
like
horrible.
Hector and Achilles
Because,
in
but in the flashback, Frank
yeah.
goes in with a gun. It's like, if he was
Yeah.
going to kill him, why didn't he just shoot him? Like, that's such a horrible thing to, like, not that that would have been any better. He shouldn't have killed him at all, but to drag him down the road.
It's supposed to show us that he was really in love with his wife and he went insane, and his actions are insane and horrible. And one of the things that gets said about the monster, like the ghost, if you will, later on, is that fear is like that. Fear is catching. Fear will make people do crazy things. And when you look at history and you look at things like the witch hunts, it's absolutely true. You can see these people who used to be good neighbors start tearing each other apart. And I think vengeance and grief and fear all together is this really powerful cocktail. So we're supposed to ask ourselves if we should hate Frank for what he did. Like, are we supposed to find understanding like his brother did here, where he's like, I understand what happened. He's like, obviously he
Mm.
doesn't like it, but he's like, I understand what happened here, and he's a very forgiving man. Or are we supposed to hate him? Like, it's a really interesting episode in terms of like it asks us to think about these pretty deep questions, I think.
Mm.
Especially for an episode that's so funny in so many ways. It gets really dark and deep.
Yeah, definitely.
Mm-hmm. So Mr. Garland says, I screamed to every cop in town. They didn't want to look into Frank. He was the pillar of the community. Laura, your line is
Bit of the community.
pillar of the community, Glenn. He's a murderer. Every time they say pillar of the community, now my brain goes murder.
We have
Um,
pillars of the community.
yeah. He says, my brother was just a town freak. And Sam says, you must have hated Frank O'Brien. And Mr. Garland says, I did for a long time, but life's too short for hate, son. And Frank wasn't thinking straight. His wife had vanished. He was terrified. A damn shame he had to put Luther through the same. But that's fear. It spreads and spreads.
Yes, yeah. What you were saying earlier, like this man's really nice. Like he has empathy for Frank, even though he killed his brother.
Yeah. He's a very evolved person, I think. I don't think that very many people can do that.
No, although he does imply that he was like really mad to start with.
Yeah.
Like upset with him to start with, but yeah.
I think that's human. I think that's a very human reaction. And then he was able to somehow transmutate that rage into some form of understanding so that he could keep going. I think is it a Buddhist saying? I can never remember if it's the Buddha that says it, but I think it is. I don't think it's a misattribution where he says, hatred is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die. And I think that's where he's coming from.
Yeah. Yeah. Also, you know how you mentioned how it was a bit like Frankenstein, which I agree with. I think it is. I found a fun fact on IMDb that where someone says it's similar to Of Mice and Men as well, that storyline. So it says Jack Garland's backstory about how his brother dies, that he reveals to Sam and Dean is a kind of a spin-off of the book Of Mice and Men by Steinbeck. In the book, Lenny is a large bumbling man lusting after Frank's wife. So wait, they've done that the wrong way around. In light of her sudden death, Luther is to be killed, although Lenny died in a humane way. The stories are similar.
Yeah.
So 2 little references.
Nice.
So when they leave the care home, and Dean says he now knows what the wounds on his arms are, they're road rash, and says that he guesses Luther swallowed some wood chips, and that's why he coughed that up earlier. And Sam says that he's experiencing Luther's death in slow motion.
Dean says, yeah, well, not slow enough, huh? Say we burn some bones and get me healthy. And Sam says, Dean, it won't be that easy. And Dean's like, no, it'll be that easy. Why wouldn't it be that easy? And he's like, what are you trying to say to me right now, brother? And Sam says Luther was road hauled. His body was ripped into pieces. He was probably scattered all over that road. There's no way we're going to get all the remains. And Dean's like, you're kidding me. And Sam says, look, we'll just have to figure something else out. And Dean's like, you know what? Screw this. And Sam goes, whoa, Dean. And Dean says, come on. No, I mean, come on, Sam. What are we doing? And Sam says, we're hunting a ghost. And Dean says, a ghost. Exactly. Who does that? And Sam says, us. And Dean says, us, right? And that, Sam, that is exactly why our lives suck. I mean, come on. We hunt monsters. What the hell? I mean, normal people, they see a monster and they run, but not us. No. We search out things that want to kill us. Yeah? Huh? Or eat us. You know who does that? Crazy people. We are insane, you know? And then there's bad diner food, and then the skeevy motel room, and then the truck stop waitress with the bizarre rash. I mean, who wants this life, Sam? Huh? Seriously? Do you actually like being stuck in a car with me 8 hours a day, every single day? I don't think so. I mean, I drive too fast. I listen to the same 5 albums over and over and over again, and I sing along. I'm annoying. I know that. And you're gassy. You eat half a burrito and you get toxic. I mean, you know what? And then he tosses Sam the keys and he says, you can forget it. And Sam says, whoa, Dean, where are you going? And Dean says, stay away from me, Sam, okay? Because I am done with it. I am done with the monsters and the hellhounds and the ghost sickness and the damn apocalypse. I'm out. I'm done. Quit. And then he's walking away. And then we hear the growling behind him immediately afterwards, which is where the Yorkie with the bow starts chasing Dean, and we kind of catch up. We're sort of full circle.
Yeah. This whole like freak out bit, I'd seen this before, or at least parts of it, and did you do a reel or something with it in?
Yeah, I think so.
That's probably where I know it from then. Because I'd remembered, I was like, I've seen this before when I was watching it.
That's another pretty memeified scene from it.
Yeah.
But I also thought it was really funny because, like, we all know that Jared made the bad smells in the Impala. It was so bad that sometimes it affected filming. So I feel like this was the writers, again, like, making these cheeky little references.
I did think about that at the time. I
Yeah,
thought it might be.
yeah.
It
It
was
was
gassy.
so
Yeah.
funny. And the fucking Yorkie with the little pink bow
So
chasing
cute.
Dean. Amazing. My favorite thing.
That is funny. We then cut to the motel and Sam comes in and Dean's already there. And Sam asks how he got there and Dean says, I ran.
Yeah.
Because he'd been chased by a dog.
Yeah. A tiny dog. A pocket dog. It's amazing. So then Dean starts hallucinating. So he tells Sam that he ran all the way there and that he has less than 4 hours on the clock. And he's like, what are we going to do? I'm going to die, Sammy. And Sam says, yeah, you are. And Dean
Yeah, how
looks
many times would
really
that have been?
confused. Yeah. So many times.
What's new, Dean? You always die.
And Sam says really ominously, you're going back. And Dean says, back? And Sam says, downstairs, Dean. Hell, it's about damn time, too. Truth is, he turns to Dean with yellow eyes. You've been a real pain in my ass. And then he throws him against a wall with a hand gesture. And Dean says, no, you get out of my brother, you evil son of a bitch. And the yellow-eyed demon says, no one's possessing me, Dean. This is what I'm going to become. This is what I want to become. And there's nothing you can do about it. And then he starts strangling Dean. Meanwhile, in the real world, Sam is like, hey, Dean, Dean. Because he's trying to shake him out of the hallucination. And that is becoming, in Dean's mind, possessed Sam strangling him.
Yeah. My only note here was Sam as yellow eyes is scary, but also kind of hot. Why is evil Sam hot?
That's like probably the only thirst trap of this episode for me. I don't know why evil Sam is so sexy. Someone needs to analyze it and explain it to me because I don't know why it works, but wow, it works.
Yeah.
Do you know what I think it is? I think it's because Jared is such a puppy dog. Maybe in order to avoid the Luther of it all, because he is a huge man, right? So he probably has to deal with that big guy stuff all the time. He's so sweet and bouncy and silly as a way to maybe avoid intimidating people and scaring them, which is very wholesome in my opinion. But then when he plays bad, you get to see the full clout of him being 6'4" and super muscular and menacing. And he's very sexy. And he does it very well.
Well, that's better than my theory, which was just that we both need therapy.
I mean, that's probably part of it.
Traumatized.
Yeah. Sarah Gamble, Eric Kripke, are you prepared to pay for our therapy bills?
I mean, we're learning about ourselves through the podcast, so
yeah, it is the therapy. I guess Supernatural is the therapy. Maybe we should pay them.
So then Sam was obviously called Bobby because he turns up at the lumber mill to meet Sam, and all I just write in my notes, "Yay, Bobby!"
Woo! I like it because he says, "Howdy, Sam." I love a good howdy. As a Southerner, this pleases me.
That's like that just reminds me of Yellow Eyes, like the original Azazel. He's like,
"Oh yeah,
howdy,
he had
Sam."
a good howdy. He had a great howdy.
Bobby asks where Dean is, and Sam says he's homesick. And then we got to Dean watching cartoons in the motel room. Oh, also, did you notice the cartoon in the background? What was actually going on?
Yeah,
yeah, because it links to what happened to Luther.
Yeah. Do you want to tell the people what happened?
Well, it's just that what's the cartoon? It's Gumby.
Pokey and
what's the
Gumby. I don't remember the name of the cartoon.
Is it like Adventures of something?
The Adventures of Gumby, maybe?
Yeah.
Something
anyway,
like that.
Which one's which? That Pokey gets lassoed is the horse.
Yeah,
Pokey
he gets lassoed and dragged.
Yeah, down a street. So that's what happened to Luther.
Yeah, gold stars. Because I didn't notice. If I'm being completely honest, I knew what was happening, but I thought he was being triggered because it's a horrible scene and it's really violent. But I didn't put two and two together that it was echoing the death, and that's why Dean was so like, nope. But it's in the transcript.
Oh, okay. Well, I should have scrolled further in my notes because I did a little screenshot. I looked up Pokey and Gumby, and it's the Gumby Show is the name of the cartoon, and I had a little picture of what they looked like. It says Gumby and Pokey are the main characters of the classic clay animation series, The Gumby Show. Gumby is a green, flexible clay figure who can mold himself into various shapes and travel through time and space. Pokey is his loyal, anthropomorphic orange pony companion. Together they embark on adventures. So I forgot that I'd looked that up.
Now we know. So Bobby asks if the hallucinations have started. And Sam says, yeah, a few hours ago. And Bobby asks how they're doing on time. And Sam says that it started at about 8 a.m. on Monday morning, so just under 2 hours. And then he asks if Bobby found something. And Bobby says, this Encyclopedia of Spirits dates to the Edo period. And then he gives Sam a book with Japanese text. And Sam says, you can read Japanese? And Bobby answers him in Japanese.
It's so cool.
Do you have it written down, the translation? I couldn't find it anywhere.
Yeah. So I have 2 fun facts about this. So when Bobby
Wait. I want to say what I think he said first.
Okay.
Because I'm pretty sure he said something along the lines of the vibe being something like, no shit, Sherlock. I couldn't hear if he said baka, because baka's idiot, which would be like idiot. So I didn't know from his tone if that's what he was saying. I wanted to guess, but I couldn't make out his pronunciation. But I wanted to guess.
What did Sam say before? He just said, "Oh, do you speak Japanese?"
Yeah.
So it says when Bobby replies to Sam in Japanese after Sam asks him if he reads Japanese, what Bobby says roughly translates to "since before you were born."
Oh, that's cool.
And then I had another fun fact: is that Jim Beaver actually does speak Japanese. He suggested to speak his line in Japanese because he's fluent, and that is really
cool. That's amazing. I love that so much.
And then it makes because then Sam's like, all right, show off afterwards.
Yeah.
And that makes it even more funny.
Yeah. That's awesome. I'm very excited by that. That's cool.
Yeah. I liked that one.
It was fun to guess what he was saying. I was like, I couldn't, because I rewound it a couple of times and I just couldn't make it out. So I couldn't figure it out at all. And when I casually looked and I couldn't find a translation. I was like, I want him to have said baka because that would be really funny.
Yeah. Well, see, this is just what someone on IMDb said. It might not be. It says it roughly translates.
Yeah. But no, anyway, that's really, really cool. I'm glad that we have a translation or thereabouts.
Yeah. And then Bobby says there's a ghost in the book that could be what they're dealing with as it infects people with fear, and it's called a Buruburu.
Mm-hmm. So the Buruburu is the sound of shivering in Japanese. It's onomatopoeic. Nice. And it kind of feeds off of cowardice, according to this little snippet article that I found. So you guys can see what I'm referring to in my show notes. It says that they are sometimes referred to as the actual spirit of cowardice itself, that they follow people and cause them to shudder in fear. They're born when humans perform acts of cowardice, such as running away from battle. They possess people by clinging to their shirt collars and touching the backs of their necks. This causes their hair to stand on end and send shivers down their bodies.
Japanese folklore is so cool.
Mm-hmm.
This book, this episode actually inspired me to. I haven't bought it yet, but I want a book about Japanese folklore and like the yokai and stuff.
Yokai are fascinating.
Yeah. So Sam asks how they kill it, and Bobby says to burn its remains like they usually do. And Sam asks if there's a plan B because obviously they can't do that. And Bobby says they can kill it with fear. And Sam says, so we have to scare a ghost to death? And Bobby says, pretty much. and then Sam calls Dean to say that they have a plan, so he just needs to write it out. And Dean asks about the plan, and Sam just says it's a good plan. And then he puts the phone down, and Bobby says, this is a terrible plan. And Sam says, yeah, tell me about it. And then they grab their weapons and go into the mill.
Yeah, it's amazing.
So they grab weapons, Sam goes into the mill, and Luther's spirit sees him, and then we cut back to Dean.
Yeah, so Dean starts to hear barking, and then the door starts rattling, and then it gets broken off of its hinges. And then it's the sheriff that's broken down his door. And he says, what are you doing? And the sheriff says, why are you looking into Luther Garland's death? All threatening and stuff. Dean sees the bleeding arm and realizes that he has ghost sickness. And he says, hey, you're sick. You're sick, all right? Just like me, okay? You've got to relax. And the sheriff hits Dean and says, Frank O'Brien was my friend. So he made a mistake. So I didn't bust him. So what? And you're going to bring me down over that? And he's like completely enraged, like insane enraged. And he's screaming, no, sir. And he points the gun at Dean, but Dean swats it away. And this fight ensues. And the voiceover of the sheriff says, they know what you did. And then he starts hyperventilating and says, get away from me. And Dean says, Al, you got to calm down. And the sheriff is all, step back. And then he starts having a heart attack. And we just hear, they know. And then he has a heart attack and dies. And Dean looks horrified, basically.
Yeah, because Dean was trying to get him to calm down, wasn't he? But he's got his own problems as well. Yeah. So Sam is still trying to find Luther, but tells Bobby over the radio that he must be scared. And he puts his gun down and Bobby asks, now what? And Sam says he guesses that he's got to make him angry. And he starts ripping up all of Luther's sketches of Jesse. And then the machinery starts up again and he appears. Yeah, and this guy is taller than Sam. He's huge.
He's got to be a giant, or he's standing on a box. I don't know which one. He grabs Sam by the neck, and Sam's face says, oh, fuck. And it's so funny. And that's the cut scene before we go back to the motel with Dean. And yeah. I laughed so hard because Jared's acting is impeccable, honestly. Like, it's great. So Dean's sitting on the bed scratching his arms. He hears again what the hallucination of Sam said to him. And it's, you're going back. It's about damn time, too. And then he laughs. And then he hears barking like hellhounds are coming for him. He looks down at his watch and sees something on the floor, picks it up and sees it's the Bible. Dean clutches the Bible like it's a safety net. And then a little girl appears from nowhere and says, hi, Dean. And we recognize her because she's Lilith. And Dean goes, oh, no. Like, he's like flipping out and it's funny. And she says, yes, it's me, Lilith. And then she hugs him. And I was like, this is cute. Fucking hilarious.
I'm glad that this little actress got to have another episode.
She's very talented. She says, oh, I missed you so much. It's time to go back now. And Dean moves away from her and says, you're not real. And Lilith says, what's the matter, Dean? Don't you remember all the fun you had down there? You do remember 4 months is like 40 years in hell, like doggy years. And you remember every second. And Dean's clutching his chest and he's like, you're not real. And Lilith does this whole eye roll, full white eyes thing. And it's very creepy because this actress is just rolling her eyes to the back of her head because you can see them roll up and roll down. I don't think this is an effect. I think this is a skill set that she has. So it makes it extra scary and gross because you can see the eyes going up and down.
Surely you can't do that.
I can do it.
Ew, no, don't do it.
I won't because you'll have a freak out. But I can do it. Yeah. So anyway, she says, it doesn't matter. You're still going to die. You're still going to burn. And Dean says, why'd me? Why'd I get infected? And Lilith says, silly goose. You know why, Dean. Listen to your heart. And Dean's like, what? And Lilith goes, ba-boom, ba-boom, ba-boom. Because she's mimicking his heart giving out in fear. And Dean is absolutely terrified. And you just feel so sorry for him. It's really kind of a horrible scene. And then we cut back to the mill where Sam is fighting Luther's spirit. Pretty hot, not gonna lie. And then we cut back to Lilith taunting Dean again. And then back to the mill where Sam manages to wrap the chain around Luther's neck and screams, Bobby, punch it. Also hot. And Bobby floors the Impala and pulls Luther's spirit across the road until he disappears. And I wrote ghost dust. Like demon dust, but ghost.
I felt sad for this ghost.
Me
They had
too.
to go through it again.
He's another one
quite
where,
brutal.
like, some of the ghosts, you're like, I support your rights and your wrongs, and Luther is one of those ghosts. I support his rights and his wrongs. Like,
but he didn't do anything wrong.
No, the only thing he did wrong is he tried to kill Dean, which is going too far. But I still sympathize. It's like, just leave my man alone, okay? So, as he turns into dust, we see Dean starting to recover in the hotel room. And then we're kind of in the middle of nowhere during the day when we open on the next scene. And Dean's saying, so you guys road hauled a ghost with a chain? And Sam says, iron chain etched with spell work. And Dean says, that's a new one.
More evidence that Bobby's a witch, by the way.
Agree. Hard agree.
Spell work.
Yeah. Sam says it was what he was most afraid of. It was pretty brutal, though. Dean says, on the upside, I'm still alive, so go team. And Sam says, yeah, how are you feeling, by the way? Dean says, fine. Bobby says, you sure, Dean? Because this line of work can get awful scary. And Dean says, I'm fine. You want to go hunting? I'll hunt. I'll kill anything. And Bobby says, oh, he's adorable. I got to get out of here. You boys drive safe. And Sam says, you too, Bobby. Hey, thanks. And Bobby drives off.
But he was adorable.
He was
And
adorable.
It's okay to be scared. Men are
Well,
allowed to
I
be
think
scared.
the thing is like the way that I am choosing to interpret this now is that it was like family banter where
Well,
they
yeah, but it's still
take the
like,
piss out of him but let him know that they love him still.
then Dean's like, but I've got to be a man. I could go and fight.
Well, it's Dean. Like, of course that's going to be his default.
Yeah.
So Sam says, so what did you see near the end, I mean? And Dean says, oh, besides a cop beating my ass? And Sam says, seriously. And Dean looks at Sam and sees this yellow flash in his eyes.
Oh, that was really creepy. The little flash.
Yeah, and Dean says, howler monkeys, whole room full of them. Those things creep the hell out of me. And Sam says, right. And you can tell he doesn't really believe him.
No, I just wrote Dean lies to Sam as usual.
Yeah, standard. And Dean says, no, just the usual stuff, Sammy. Nothing I can't handle. And then we get Eye of the Tiger.
Yeah. The whole Eye of the Tiger scene, which is hilarious. And you hear like the crew laughing and stuff as well.
Yeah.
And Jensen just looks so happy with himself at the end.
He is so happy. It was amazing. I love it so much, honestly.
Yeah,
There's nothing
so
I love more than this.
Iconic.
It is iconic. Now, we've run out of time, but if you go to my show notes, I do have some creepy, spooky location lore for you guys in there. So hop on over to my show notes if you want to read ghost things.
I want to hear the ghost things.
Want to hear the ghost things?
Hooray. How long is it?
I guess maybe it's not too long. Okay, so Rock Ridge, Colorado is the location, but it doesn't technically exist. However, there is a Rock Ridge Ranch barn in Colorado. It is circa 1880. It is very rare. It's one of the only surviving examples of pegged post and beam construction. And it looks super creepy. I have a photo of it. And it is apparently very haunted. I also found adjacent hauntings to it. So Riverdale Road, which is a winding 11-mile path between Thornton and Brighton in America, is at the center of many supposed haunting and paranormal happenings. The earliest rumors are of a nearby Native American burial ground, which places curses on trespassers. Fair, honestly. And entities taking animal form along the road. That's very cool. Supposedly, there are both good and evil forces at work here. Take caution if you see a gray fox, as it is the manifestation of an evil spirit. But if instead you see a coyote, it means there's a good entity watching over you. Which I would be curious about, because if these are supposed to be indigenous myths, I mean, like coyotes, from what I understand, from what I've read, because I'm not an expert, obviously, coyote's supposed to be the trickster that you're really supposed to watch out for in a lot of tales. Like he's very like fey fuckery, from what I've read in secondhand accounts. So I don't know how much I can trust that, but like that's curious to me. So anyway, that's their superstition according to this website. On the north end of the road, not far from Highway 7, there was a large home. However, one day the owner of the house was possessed by a demon and burned it to the ground, reportedly with his family still inside. The house had large iron gates out front, which locals have taken to calling the gates of hell. It is rumored that an entire community of Satanists once lived in the area and performed rituals in a field on the side of the road. An old dairy on Riverdale is also said to be the home to a tree which was used to hang women accused of witchcraft. Street signs on Riverdale Road are sometimes found to be covered in dried blood and small handprints.
Ugh.
This is thought to be the work of a ghost who, while alive, was a young boy that walked the road on his way to school. Sadly, the boy was killed while on his daily commute, and now his spirit seems to be stuck there. Some passerby,
sad. Like reliving it.
Very sad. Some passerby have also reported seeing the ghost of a jogger and a lady in white along the side of the road. My friend and I went down the actual Riverdale Road and then the branch off, also named Riverdale Road. The branch off was by far way more scary and uneasy than the actual haunted Riverdale Road. I saw headlights chasing us, and mind you, it was right on our ass. We were recording, and none of our videos had picked up any headlights being behind us. No one had followed us on
Ooh,
that
that's
road
spooky.
either, right? So fucking scary. I definitely believe there's something out there. We do plan on going back to see if we do see anything else because it feels like there's more hauntings on that branch.
Was that a
So
Reddit
spooky.
story?
Yeah, so there was some articles and then there was also a Reddit thread in that, which is all linked in my show notes.
Cool. Yeah, that is spooky.
Spooky, scary skeletons.
Should we do end of episode games?
Yes, please.
Villain hot or not?
Who is the villain? I'm gonna say the sheriff is probably more villain than Luther's ghost.
Or
So I'm
Frank?
gonna,
Or Luther, yeah.
yeah, I'm gonna say not hot.
No. I'd only actually written down Luther and I said, no, but he's cute with the kitten.
He's adorable. That's the
Yeah.
thing. He's adorable.
Yeah. Episode scare rating.
This one's so funny, but there are some gross, scary parts in it. So it's really hard for me to rate it because it's such a mashup between horror and comedy. I'd
Yeah.
probably give it, I think I'd probably give it like a 4.5 because there's gore and there's scary stuff and there's like emotionally scary stuff. But then you also have like Dean screaming at a kitten and being chased by Yorkie with a bow.
Yeah. We do have the autopsy, which is gory.
That
and
part
Luther's
is
death.
horrible.
Luther's death is horrible.
Yeah.
I'd given it a 6.5.
That's honestly fair.
Mainly because of Luther's death.
Yeah. I definitely do agree with that. I'm going to up mine to like a 5.6, I think.
What were your favorite quotes? All of mine are Dean quotes.
All of mine are Dean quotes too. I think my number one is probably, that was scary, which he says a couple of times. That's my ultimate favorite quote of the episode.
I think mine is, am I haunted?
Yeah. That was pretty really like awesome.
Yeah. I also like, I don't want to be a clue.
Yeah.
Favorite thirst trap?
Literally Sam being kind to Dean. Basically all episode.
I thought you were going to say evil Sam.
Evil Sam is hot, but Sam being kind to Dean is actually hotter. I guess my most genuine thirst trap is there's that part where he goes, "Hey," to Luther, and he's doing it to protect Dean. And Luther's huge and it's scary. So like that was pretty hot of Sam.
Yeah, I liked Sam in the care home, that scene.
That's a good scene.
MVP?
Okay, here's the thing. It's not actually Dean, but I nominate Dean because this is the only time we ever get to see him scared to be like a cute little kid. And
yeah,
that's
that makes
really
him not the MVP, really.
It's really valuable to me personally, though. In actuality, it's Bobby because Bobby cracks the case.
I write Bobby and or Sam, but yeah Bobby.
Because Bobby made those chains, right? Bobby definitely made the chains, and he also figured out the ghost, and he spoke Japanese.
Yeah, Bobby worked it out because he speaks Japanese.
Exactly. He's multi-skilled and multi-talented. He's a magician. What do you want? He's a witch. It's Bobby. He's a witch.
And I don't have a motel rating. I just had a question mark, so I don't think there's a motel. No, there was a motel.
There was one.
Didn't write
I wrote that I really liked it, and I really enjoyed the colors, and I would give it 5 stars.
Okay, I didn't write anything, so I'll just go with you.
Yeah, we'll stay there. It'll be fine.
So that's the end of the episode.
Would you drive up that haunted road? Are we adding that to the road trip, or is it too scary?
Don't know. If we've got time, but if we had to cut anything, we cut that. Yeah. I think I'd be really scared doing that.
Are you excited for the Halloween episode coming up?
Yeah. And I'll be able to then watch them at Halloween as well.
Yeah.
And we've got a Christmas episode. We can watch at Christmas.
We've got Christmas episode, Halloween episode, and also monster movie is definitely a Halloween one.
Yeah. I'm definitely going to watch some, like a selection of supernatural episodes on Halloween, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, the next one's the Great Pumpkin one, isn't it?
Yep. It's the Great Pumpkin, Sam Winchester.
Yeah.
Stay tuned for an announcement of a collaboration that we're doing soon. We will tell you about it in a little bit more detail coming up. So make sure you keep listening. And I think we should say goodbye, Laura.
Bye.
Goodbye, Laura. Thanks for tuning in. If you like this episode, please rate, review, and subscribe. We would be very grateful. And if you know someone who would enjoy it, please share.
You can find us on Instagram at the Witches of Letters podcast, or you can email us at thewitchesofletters@gmail.com.
Until next time, stay safe out there, have each other's backs, and always keep fighting.